Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Connections, your opportunity to ask us, the analysts of Abacus Securities and MyTrade Philippines, your questions about the stock market, about the economy, about your portfolio, and we will do our best to answer them. This afternoon, as usual, I'm joined by these two lovely gentlemen, but I am Bess, also one of the analysts of Abacus Securities, and thank you for joining us today. Rainier and IC.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Pleasant afternoon to everyone, and we're excited to hear all of your questions and see what stocks interest you the most.
I'm Isaiah, one of the technical analysts for Abacus and MyTrade. Let me know what charts you are interested in and what charts you'd like to look at. And
Okay, so feel free to post your questions in the chat box. But before we get to those, and while you're still thinking of your questions, as usual, IC, what's your read on the ESEI for this week so far?
so if we can show the PSEI of what's happened since we were here last time. And there you go. Thank you, Joseph. So there's the index trading in the descending channel. Slight close above, so some improvement there, but for the most part, still down. All shares also still trading within that descending channel. So you have your long-term downtrend with the death cross here with the 50-day moving average below the 200 days. So until that price levels are overcome, it's a little bit of a for traders, for short-term traders, would probably be a more defensive stance. So that's the technicals so far on the index.
Okay, so let's get to it. There's one question so far on the chat box from Cinnamon Place. Is my needed IPO price okay? As you may have already heard, the IPO price for Maynilad is at 15 pesos. So this is at the maximum of the revised price range that they set. If you have been if you are a client of Abacus and MyTrade, you may have already seen our write-ups on this. This was not the ideal price that we were looking for, but we still believe that at 15 pesos, Manila offers a good dividend yield at least. So still, even if there is a good dividend yield, since this is at the maximum of the price range, we don't believe there would be a very good performance on IPO day, on first listing day. Anything to add to that, Rainer?
So far, I think you covered most of it. But ayun, I think what we're looking at naman for Manila is more of a long-term bet. And for those who haven't heard our opinion on Manila's chances into the PSCI, you may open an account with us, so you should be able to have access to our research reports, which we send daily, and you can hear more about uh, what our expectations are for Manila.
Okay, next question from Sir Rene. What's up with Meralco? Anything new? And maybe we can also have a technical take on Meralco from IC.
Yeah. So hello, Sir Rene. For Meralco, actually, yeah, it's been trading at the highs, and I think this is also in anticipation of its earnings announcement on Monday. We should see more updates with regards to the full contribution of the Chromite project, which we already saw in the second quarter. And I think over the past week, it's one of the few index names that have been seeing net foreign buying. I think the other one is ICT, but it's more concentrated lately on Meralco, and I think it has become the outlier since the overall market has been pretty much been sold down by foreign. So I think for Meralco, we are anticipating a pretty decent set of results on Monday, and I think we should hear good developments as well on some of its key projects, such as the Terra Solar for its generation business. So
Just
I
to
see.
add to that before we go to the technicals, there was a report a few weeks ago where that volumes for Meralco were not so good in the third quarter. So that's something that could be a burden on earnings um, during the period. So it's just something to look out for. Let's go to the chart.
So quick look at the charts of Meralco. Has been in an uptrend, stayed above the 200 days since July of 2024, has managed to hold above its volatility stops here. With the recent break of the resistance at 558 pesos, looks like it could test the 617 peso to 630 peso range. Oh, there's also some resistance here if it can get above that below, which already did 584 pesos. So that's the all those that I mentioned swing highs for Meralco. Looks like it will continue in the near term. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Next question, also from Rainier. Any updates on Macro Asia? Have they agreed on terms with NNIC on the new lease? And
Uh, yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, we have reached out to management regarding this, but they still aren't able to disclose anything specific to their new terms or their new lease agreement with the new management or the NNIC. Although yun, they assured naman na this will continue on for the next 25 years, and Macro Asia and LTP will continue to operate here in the Philippines, here in Manila particularly, or in the Manila airport. But ayun nga, our expectation is there will be quite a decent hit, or actually a significant hit, in terms of the new lease for Macro Asia and LTP. I think it has been in several news columns that a lot of the previous concessionaires, when NAIA was still handled by the government, that several concessionaires were able to enjoy very low rates, and believe MAC and LTP were one of the beneficiaries to the lower rates, to the lower than market rates. But ayun, with the change in management, we should see a boost, or a significant increase in the rate. So it will affect the margins for Macro Asia and LTP. So while the renewal is positive, there will be some negatives as well.
okay, can we do a technical analysis on that as well from Eileen?
Sure. So quick technicals on Macro Asia. After some choppy price action in about July of this year, we finally got above the 434 peso resistance level. Looks like it can test this 505 peso resistance with a bullish hammer today. Long term, looks like the primary trend has turned up just recently. So it would argue for a buy the dips, but the resistance currently is at about 505. So remains to be seen if it can be sustained going on. So that's it for me on macro Asia.
Thank you for that, guys. Next question from Alcon or Gil. How about dito? May pag-asa pa ba? Before we do a technical read, I see for dito again. We are actually not very keen on dito. There has been there's been a good growth in its revenues. However, the company still has a large amount of debt. Some of the debt that it's issued recently is also actually going to only service the older debt, so that's not a very good development. Also, its operating expenses and finance charges are eating up those revenues, so that we expect it to still be in the red for a good amount of years. So there is a way that Tito could go and Tito has some hope of profitability. However, that would involve possibly conversion of some of the debt to equity, which would dilute a lot of the current shareholders, which is not also good for shareholders of Tito. So there is hope, but we would that would not also be very good uh for future value of the stock. So we're not really so that we would avoid that particular telco stock and look towards other, not just other telco stocks, but maybe other picks, which you may see which are top picks if you are a client of MyTrade and regularly read our research report. So let's go to the technicals, I see.
So for Tito, not much change since the breakdown at uh, the peso level. So still trading within this descending channel. So until that reverses, there's really it's more of like a sell on rally for Tito. Yeah. So yeah,
So
that's for Tito.
some unfortunate news. Sorry, Algon, if you have dito. Next question. Um, I see quite a few for Rainier. Any comments on P Gold? The price is up today.
Yes. For Pure Gold, actually today we wrote about it and our expectations for third quarter results. And you have mentioned that I think the selling has been overdone. It has been down 20% from its 52-week highs, which was I think which happened about around September. So I think we are positive on the outlook for pure gold in both the short term and the longer term. And this is, of course, driven by strong fundamentals from its star network expansion and coupled with decent yields, which is better than most of the index names. That's why Pure Gold has been one of our better picks, and I think it should continue to outperform its peers moving forward.
And maybe also chart read.
Okay, we'll go. So Pure Gold recently tested the percent Fibonacci retracement level. So it's in a long term uptrend. It tested this level. It looks like it is already at the start of a possibly a sideways price action for it to bottom. It's also trading near the 200-day moving average. So my assumption is that it will just try to base around these levels before resuming. Yeah, that's the technicals on Pure Gold.
Okay, thanks for that. Next question from Mark. Would like to ask your insight about consumer stocks like DNL and Monde. Are they good to accumulate since they are at lows? Are they also good because of their dividend yields?
Okay. Thank you for the question, Mark. Just to answer the second question first, they're not as good compared to other consumer names. So again, like Pure Gold in terms of their yield. I think even if you compare on that URC still has a better dividend yield compared to Monde and DNL. Although both DNL and Monde, I think in the near to medium term, they should be able to outperform uh, because of improving raw material price trends. And these are namely coconut oil prices, which have been correcting. That is positive for DNL and Monde since coconut oil is composed of about I think 30% for DNL and about 7% for Monde in terms of their COGS. So lower prices would mean better margins for DNL and Monde, but this would probably reflect in the fourth quarter earnings. So I think they will be able to recover those margins by the fourth quarter and not when they announce the third quarter. But in terms of the top line, it's a more difficult picture for DNL since the recent tariffs are expected to uh, hit some demand on their end, and DNL's exports to the US is at about 5 to 10% of overall top line. So we don't have visibility yet, but we should see more color once they announce Q3 earnings. So there's a bit of uncertainty on that end. That's why if we were to accumulate, we might prefer Monde now over DNL since Monde, I think Monde is seeing some positive positive recovery because of corn turning black. At least it's becoming less of a drag. But the concern in the second quarter was of its APAC BFP segment, uh, which was negatively surprised earnings. But we believe that should be the bottom for Monde. So uh, if they are going to recover, might not be on an upward uh, or a straight up trajectory, but it might continue to be um, it might be a slow recovery for both these names. So maybe a better technical read for both names. I see.
Uh, DNL, no, DNL. We can do DNL first. Has been trading in this descending channel since about maybe it's about February of this year. I marked about 504 as a key resistance level. Could possibly make a double bottom here with the 4 pesos and 52 cents as one of the lows. Monde naman is, let's see, tried to get above this 200-day moving average, but is still making lower highs, so lower high. For the bulls, possibly breaking above this level would mark the reversal, which would be about 750 pesos. There you go, about 750 pesos possibly for a reversal. It's also the 50 days also close to the 200 days, so hopefully for bulls it will reverse once that level is exceeded, the 750 resistance. So that's it for Monday.
Okay, thanks, guys. Next question from Aina. Not really a question, but a request for JGS and ASEN. So, well, IC prepares technical reads. Let's start with ASEN. We are expecting, well, after disappointing Q2 earnings, we are expecting some improvement in Q3 compared to Q2. However, we are still seeing, compared to last year's earnings report, it may still be a disappointment. So, um, something to look out for as well. However, we are looking towards more in 2026 performance for ASEN. The repairs on their Pagudpod facility should be done by then. There will be a low base coming from this year, so earnings numbers for ASEN should be much better for 2026. So we are actually on a longer term basis positive still on the stock. Um, so before the technicals, maybe Rainier can comment on JGS.
Yes, for JGS, I think the first half earnings tilted more to the positive with its subsidiaries, SEB, RLC, and ang tawag dito, and URC turning out good results, but mostly driven by Cebu Pacific. But for the third quarter, we expect some deterioration in terms of earnings, and they are expected to book an impairment charge in the third quarter, and it might reach the most, I think, of 100 billion. So that would weigh down on headline numbers and might scare off some investors once they announce sometime in November. So that's why we have been advocating for a sell on strength on JGS, and you might just see that, or we might see the opportunity soon, right before earnings will be announced, and which IC will expound on.
What chart are we looking about? ASEN.
Yes, and
Quick start
JGS.
on JGS muna. Okay, give me JGS first. JGS completed what I viewed as a reverse head and shoulder back in August. Currently consolidated back trading above the 50 days. So if you can break above this trend line, resistance at about 25 pesos and 25 cents, it probably could test closer to the 30 peso level. ASEN, on the other hand, after quite a long downtrend, has recently broken back above this this volatility stop level here. So if we can get above this high volume area at 2 pesos 50 cents, you could see that many of the holders will already be at a profit. So it could possibly test the next resistance at 285. There's also some bullish divergence at the lower panel. So you can see that change in momentum at the bottom of the panel. So I hope that was clear on ASEN. Thank you.
Okay, next question is also for you, IC. Technicals on the miners. Have they broken down technically LC, PX, OGP, and Apex?
LC appears to be testing support at the 50% Fibonacci range level at 0.189. Don't think it has broken. I don't think it's broken down yet. It's just testing support. As for let me see the other question. LC. What's the other stock? I'm just looking for the comment. Yeah, LCP. Felix, similar testing, possibly closer to this support level, or the resistance turn support level, and closer to the 50-day. So possibly, if you can test 770, would be closer to support. And the last one, OGP. Well, OGP had a good run up, and you may. My assumption is that it has the trend has possibly already ended for OGP after the fast run up. So it's also on the overbought side in the lower panel. So given that, there's still some support at 26.45. So it appears like a sell on rally. So that's my take on OGP.
Okay, thanks for that. I see also a lot of questions asking about Manila. If you can rewind to the start of the live, we covered that briefly. Um, let's take this question from Annie Lin. Possibly the last for today since it's already 4. Can you comment on the fundamental and technical analysis on FCG? Is it advisable to invest on this stock?
Hello, Annalyn. I see you have two questions, so just a brief, ano na lang, just a brief discussion on FCG. FCG, we haven't been favoring the stock since there are a lot of overhangs. First, it is they are looking at further share sales, so that would put a dampen on share price, and at the same time, earnings from its flagship brands have been weakening, so might be a brand issue, but also uh, it's not performing well up to our expectation as well as against its peers. So we're not really too keen about FCG. And on the other hand, if you're looking to invest in the consumer space, we do like the name you mentioned, which is Keeper. That it is still a good stock to hold. We believe that the earnings trajectory and the outlook for Keeper is much better compared to FCG. So, and just a brief highlight on that. And for technicals, I see.
Technicals on FCG 100-day has steadily been declining, as you can see in the lower panel here. The oscillator is just steadily flat. So it doesn't appear to have any reversal signs yet. So my assumption is that it will continue to drift lower in the near term. So that's FCG. Was there another stock?
I think you missed Apex earlier when we were doing the miners.
Apex. Apex found support at the 50-day moving average by my notes, just in the middle of the range. So it can definitely try to rally from here. Let me just see the retracement levels. Yes, this coincides with the 50% retracement level. So it definitely has a chance to rally from here. So that's Apex.
Okay, thanks for that, guys. I think that's all we have time for on this episode of Beyond Connections. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Before the guys give their parting words, we are looking forward to the earnings reports of a lot of the listed companies that are about to come out in the next few weeks. Some have already reported, but we are expecting much more of them by the last week of October and more so in November. So that should be something that could drive some liquidity in the market in the near term. So hopefully, we should see some good results from the companies in your portfolio. And if you haven't yet signed up with MyTrade, you please do so you'll be able to receive our reports where you can have a more in-depth look at what we are usually discussing during these sessions online. So anything parting words from you guys?
So thank you everyone for joining us again today. It's gonna be an eventful next few weeks, and we know that the market is down, and we didn't really expect some the markets would turn out this bad, or I know to liquidity to dry up as well, mainly on the negative sentiment revolving around many things. But as we pointed out, some names, opportunities are still there, and we continue to do our best to provide those updates and try to navigate through the different picks through in our short takes. So thank you everyone again for joining us today.
Just want to say thank you for everyone for joining us today. I wish everyone good best of luck in their trades, and hopefully see you again next time.